The village of Ngomba sits hidden deep within a dense, mist-covered jungle. This village, untouched by modern life, exists in harmony with nature, surrounded by towering trees and shimmering rivers. The villagers live by the ancient traditions of their ancestors, passed down over centuries. Chimuka, the village shaman, is an elder with a mysterious air, known for his connection with the spirits of the land. He can heal the sick, predict harvests, and speak with the ancestors. However, Ngomba is on the brink of disaster. For months, the land has suffered from a severe drought. The rivers have dried up, crops have withered, and the once lush forest feels ominous and lifeless. The villagers' hope is fading, and whispers of famine creep through the community. Every day, Chimuka hears pleas for help from the desperate villagers, but even he, with all his spiritual power, has no answers. Among the village elders, a story is told about the forbidden ritual, a ceremony that could summon great power from the spirit world. It is said that once every generation, during the full moon, the spirits offer an opportunity to commune with them. However, the ritual demands a life as sacrifice, and the consequences of this exchange are unknown. Generations ago, the ritual was forbidden after it unleashed horrors on the village, and the elders buried it deep within the village's history. But now, with the villagers on the brink of death from starvation, Chimuka is forced to reconsider. As the village struggles to survive, a mysterious traveler arrives at the gates. His name is Kofi, a handsome and charismatic young man with dark, piercing eyes and a silver tongue. He wears strange clothes, faded robes with intricate patterns, and carries a staff that seems to hum with an otherworldly energy. He claims to be a wandering seeker of knowledge, but there is something unnerving about his presence. Though friendly and charming, Kofi has an aura of secrets. Kofi immediately becomes the center of attention in the village. He tells the villagers that he has traveled through many lands and that he knows of ancient powers forgotten by time. One evening, he speaks to the elders in the village square, revealing that he knows of the forbidden ritual. He suggests that performing the ritual under the full moon is the only way to bring rain and save the village from its suffering. The villagers, already desperate, are drawn to his words. But Chimuka, watching from the shadows, grows suspicious of the stranger's knowledge. Chimuka confronts Kofi, demanding to know how he learned of the ritual. Kofi evades the question, only saying that fate brought him here at this critical moment. Despite Chimuka's warnings, Kofi continues to stir the hearts of the villagers, speaking of power, survival, and the legacy of their ancestors. The village begins to split into two factions, those who want to trust Chimuka's wisdom and those who are ready to embrace Kofi's dangerous promise of salvation. The full moon approaches, and the air in Ngomba grows heavy with tension. Kofi continues to manipulate the villagers, whispering in their ears, encouraging their fear of starvation. He becomes close to one of the younger elders, Ajani, a man who has always admired Chimuka but feels the old shaman is now too cautious in the face of the village's dire situation. Ajani, along with a group of younger villagers, starts to gather followers, urging them to perform the ritual and ignore Chimuka's warnings. As Chimuka grows more isolated, he retreats to the sacred caves where he communes with the spirits. During one of his meditations, Chimuka has a terrifying vision, dark spirits, clawing their way into the world through a tear in the sky. They bring not rain, but death and chaos. The village burns in his vision, and among the flames, he sees Kofi's face, twisted in malevolently. He awakens, covered in sweat, knowing that if the ritual is performed, the village will suffer far worse than a drought. That night, Kofi visits Chimuka privately. In a tense confrontation, Kofi reveals his true purpose. He is not merely a traveler but a descendant of a shaman once exiled from Ngomba after a failed ritual brought ruin to the village decades ago. Kofi's family was cast out, left to suffer in the wilderness. His parents died cursing the village, and Kofi was raised with one goal, to bring vengeance upon Ngomba by tricking them into performing the very ritual that destroyed his ancestors. Chimuka, horrified by the truth, vows to stop Kofi, but the younger man is confident. The villagers are already in his grasp, and they would never believe Chimuka now. The shaman is left with no choice but to fight back, but he knows time is running out. The night of the full moon arrives, and the village is tense with anticipation. In the village square, Kofi has gathered his followers. They have prepared the sacred altar, a massive stone slab set deep within the jungle, where the ritual will be performed. The atmosphere is thick with desperation, and the villagers chant in ancient tongues as they prepare for the ceremony. Chimuka, now fully aware of the dark forces at play, makes one last plea to the villagers. He warns them that the ritual will not bring rain but destruction. The spirits, he explains, are angry, and if they are disturbed, they will unleash untold horrors on the village. But his words fall on deaf ears. Kofi, standing before the altar, speaks passionately about the survival of the village, turning the people further against Chimuka. Even Ajani, once loyal to the shaman, sides with Kofi now. The ritual begins under the bright, glowing full moon. The villagers, eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope, watch as Kofi takes his place at the altar. The winds begin to stir, and the air grows cold as Kofi calls upon the spirits. The ground trembles slightly as ancient forces are awakened. As the ritual reaches its peak, Chimuka steps forward, attempting to stop it. A fierce struggle ensues between the old shaman and Kofi, each chanting incantations to control the power of the spirits. But the forces unleashed by the ritual are too powerful. Dark, swirling clouds form above the village, and the trees around the clearing begin to groan and twist unnaturally. The ground cracks, and from beneath, shadowy figures begin to emerge, spirits from another realm. The spirits descend upon the village, bringing not the promised rain, but chaos. The villagers scream as dark entities flood the clearing, their twisted, ghostly forms swirling through the air, terrorizing everything in their path. The once peaceful forest comes alive with malevolent energy as the spirits claim their due for being summoned. Kofi, standing at the center of the ritual, smiles through the chaos. He reveals his true form, a spirit bound by vengeance, using his human guise to deceive the villagers into performing the ritual. He is not a man, but an ancient entity seeking retribution for his family's exile. His goal was never to bring rain, but to unleash the spirits of destruction upon the village. Chimuka, realizing the full extent of the disaster, gathers his remaining strength and begins a counter-ritual. He calls upon the benevolent spirits of the forest, begging for their forgiveness and offering his life as a final sacrifice to save the village. As he chants, the dark spirits rage, lashing out at the villagers, destroying huts, and sending the jungle into a frenzy. In a final, desperate act, Chimuka completes his counter-ritual, offering his soul to the spirits in exchange for the village's salvation. The earth shakes violently, and the dark spirits screech in fury as they are drawn back into the ground. The sky clears, and the moonlight shines through the dissipating clouds. Chimuka's body begins to glow with a soft, ethereal light as he is consumed by the spirits he has communed with for so long. He becomes one with the forest, his spirit forever bound to protect the village. The dark forces are banished, and the chaos subsides. The villagers, now free from the malevolent spirits, stand in silence, realizing the price that has been paid. Kofi, his plans forward, is consumed by the very spirits he sought to control. His laughter echoes through the trees as his spirit is dragged back into the shadowy realm from which it came. As the first drops of rain begin to fall, the villagers weep. Chimuka, their protector, is gone, but his sacrifice has saved them. The drought ends, and life slowly returns to the land, but the village of Ngomba will never be the same. They rebuild, but the memory of the forbidden ritual and the price of power lingers in their hearts forever. Years later, the story of Chimuka's sacrifice becomes legend, a tale told around fires on full moon nights to remind the villagers of the dangers of tampering with ancient forces. The jungle, once feared, is now sacred, and the spirits are revered. But some still say that on certain nights, if you listen closely, you can hear the faint laughter of a vengeful spirit echoing through the trees, waiting for another chance to return.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.